you asked like what is an artistic force, and you mentioned some aspects of entrepreneurship, and I think at the core of everything for me personally is authenticity. And how does that break down? It breaks down in terms of like, well, knowing yourself, giving yourself the space to kind of go inside and be like, well, what is it that's seeking to emerge? What is the voice inside of me? And we put all these like boundaries on these voices, and we're raised in these structures, and we're taught to paint between the lines, and that's all very, very valuable. But like authenticity, I think for me is like at the true essence of what an artistic force is. Because if you think about it, like what is more amazing than to see new things come forth? And how do new things come forth? By each individual like following that muse. And so voice is really important, openness of being, like being in touch with like what's seeking to emerge, and like flying your freak flag. And if you don't have a freak flag, flying whatever kind of flag you have. And hand in hand with that really goes courage, because you have to like be willing to like explore your shadow side, or you have to be willing to step up to doing something that's kind of crazy, or that might get ridiculed. And where do you put that? How do you organize the critiques of others when you create new art, or you put your art out there? Is it even important? And if it is, like, where does it go?
We could just hold on one second. You just dropped a lot of amazing stuff right here. One of the things that I've been
I'd like to come back to a phrase that you use that I have never heard, and I'm like all about this. You said vanity.
I taught you a word. This is
no,
cool.
You taught me two words that go next to each other that I'm going to be putting next to each other. Okay, you said vanity metrics. I've never heard that, and I love it. And in response to what you just said, I have a few really important things to share. One is that it's really important to be in touch with the seasons in your life, and that's part of authenticity too. And I do, as a teacher and as a parent and just as a human, and myself having been a younger artist, I do think that there is a time and a season and a place to emulate, and that it is part of our maturity and maturation process to wonder, what is our place in the world? And is that person going to take our place from us because they're better than us? And also, I think metrics are really important. Metrics have a function, and in classical music, we're raised and also in jazz, any kind of music, there are performance traditions, and these traditions are really important. You have to learn how to paint between the lines. You have to learn how to have vibrato. You have to learn how to finger the notes. These are all like traditions that are to be valued.
Product development. Essentially, it's right. Product development. Yeah.
And that's all really important. You can be 10 and exploring your instrument, and those are the seeds of authenticity. And what's important as a teacher is not to ever squelch that, and in ourself as well. Your marketing, how you market yourself, your branding, like all of that's really important. Yeah. It serves a purpose. And resumes are important, but it's awesome when you can kind of not believe in your own PR in the end. Like you can play the game, play the chess game, get all the metrics in order, and then come to a point where you're really more interested in seeing it. And this would be the crux of it, understanding how all of that is a tool and can feed something greater. And that thing that is greater is really what is seeking to emerge from you as an artist.
Yeah.